Jai Baba, Chapter 60. Though Shama kept insisting otherwise, Baba slipped the poti in his pocket. Shama had heard the story of Eknath Maharaj from Baba himself, and thus he knew how important the Vishnu Sahasranam was to Baba. Baba had once spoken to a devotee about the efficaciousness of the Vishnu Sahasranam. The story went as follows. In Eknath Maharaj's house, the holy Puranas would be read on a regular basis, and then the meaning of the verses were elaborated and explained. Devotees gathered and drank in the sublime essence of the Puranas. There was a man who lived close by who was steeped in wrongdoings. He would never sit for prayers or follow the rituals. He was a good man who had gone wayward. Forget him coming to the house to hear the Puranas, but for some reason the man never entered Eknath Maharaj's house ever. Something would always stop him from being close to Eknath Maharaj. It was as though he feared that if he came close to Eknath Maharaj, something unusual would transpire, and he had no intention to experience what that unusual occurrence would be. Time passed, and Eknath Maharaj had mercy on this man. He cajoled the man to come once and hear the Vishnu Sahasranam. In spite of his misgivings, the man agreed. He heard the sacred names of Lord Vishnu being chanted, and his life changed dramatically. Slowly, the man's spiritual journey began and reached great heights, all because of the Vishnu Sahasranam. Anyway, back to our man Ramdasi. He returned with the Sena powder. Anna Babare was present too, and it was he who divulged this story later to Hemat Pant. Anna Babare was also akin to Narad Muni and delighted in causing confusion and misunderstandings amongst many. In a matter of minutes, Ramadasi realized that his Vishnu Sahasranama was missing. He looked around and saw the holy book comfortably reposing in Shama's pocket. It appeared as though steam began to come out of his ears. He was already a man who was filled with doubts about everything. Seeing his book in Shama's pocket was akin to pouring ample fuel into the already raging fire. You have involved Baba to get my book, haven't you, you rascal? You have used Baba to get your dirty work done. He spat out astonishing accusatory words to a Shama who did not know what to do or where to look. Shama had been certain that this scenario was going to play out, but Baba had his so-called spiritual reasons, he mused. The stomachache was a lie. You convinced Baba to feign pain in the stomach so that you could go ahead with your wicked plan. I shall now have none of it, Madhav Rao. My name is Ramadasi, and you know that I am scared of nobody. I shall crack your skull open here itself. If you don't give me back my book, don't blame me then. Poor Shama tried to convince Ramadasi about his innocence. Ramadasi would have nothing to do with Shama's explanation. Ramadasi, first of all, you are accusing me falsely. Secondly, what is so extraordinary about this book? I can purchase it anywhere. It is readily available. Worse, you doubt Baba. Is your book filled with diamonds that you doubt Baba's intention? Ramadasi refused to calm down, and eventually Baba intervened. Oye Ramadasi, why are you hell-bent on bursting a nerve in your head? Shamya is like a family member. So what if I gave him the book? And tell me, what good has this book done for your temperament? From your behavior, I can clearly see that neither the Vishnu Sahasranam nor the Ramayana, both of which you read every day, have made any difference to your temperament or your reactions. What is the use of reading such powerful spiritual books if you're still going to go about abusing one and all and threatening to break their heads? You call yourself a Ramadasi. Do you know what your name means? It means one who has surrendered to Lord Rama. You have only got more attached to your ego, your anger, and your strength. Go and sit there quietly. You know that this book can be bought anywhere and it is not even expensive. Is any book worth a good human being? A good book is found by the dozen, but a good human being is hard to come by. Shama has nothing to do with this incident. It is I who handed him your book for him to read and keep. The funny part is that you already have memorized the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Why do you even need this book is a mystery to me. Let Shamya begin to read it, as it shall help him greatly. Ramadasi cooled down. He was like a child who was still hell-bent on throwing some kind of a tantrum. Okay, Madhav Rao, you can keep the Vishnu Sahasranam, but on one condition. I want you to give me one book from your collection of the Pancha Ratni Gita as a barter exchange. Shama heaved a sigh of relief. He was relieved that Ramadasi's anger had abated. The man could go nuts when he was angry. Why just one book? I shall give you 10 copies of the Gita in return for this one book. Strangely, it was this incident that convinced Shama how important it was for Sai that he read this sacred scripture, and it was only because of how the incident had played out that he took it upon himself to read this book daily with all seriousness. Dikshit and Narake helped him to recite and pronounce each word from the Vishnu Sahasranam. In a short span of time, he could recite it by heart. Peace be to all. Baba bless us with his guidance always. Jai Sai.